everybody? I like to come down because, I'm not a preacher. I don't know how. I am just someone who likes to share the things that have happened in my life and shifted and changed my family. It has allowed me to attract people in my life who have given me gifts of growing and becoming stronger and stronger every day. So this week, as I meditated on what would I say to LA Third Church this Sunday after all of this pandemic garbage and all this stuff that's been going on. And I realized that the pandemic was an opportunity for us to spend time with ourselves and get to know ourselves better. Because many of you thought you were locked in your house and that you were hiding from a dis-ease. But what God had opened the door for was something that would make you sit down, shut up, and listen. And give you an opportunity to accept and say all of the things that I've talked about and I go to church and I say I believe in. What's going on with me? So as I was thinking, a lot of things open up to you. So I went into meditation and I turned on the radio. Now, normally when I turn on the radio, I get like a 10 or 15 meditation music so I can just sit and be still. But on this particular day, I got Unity Church and they were giving the history of science of mind and metaphysics. And they talked about how Quimby started out because of an ailment combining the art of science and medicine. And then it went on to talk about Mary Baker Eddy, Emma Hopkins, and all of the women. And Myrtle Fillmore, who had tuberculosis and told her husband, I'm going to sit here and use these tools and I'm not moving until I'm healed. And what they did is they took the idea, it wasn't about the medicine, but it was an idea about what am I thinking about me? What is my true relationship with the God in me? And many times we talk about it, but yet we listen to everything that they say about your body breaking down and becoming less, even as you get older. Or if you're a young person, you're born with this. Historically, you're born with it. There is no such thing as a hereditary disease, but what there is a hereditary thought. And what we do is we listen to the radio and we get caught up in all these things. Like right now, if you turn on your TV, please don't watch TV a lot today after today, because every advertisement on TV is a medicine. Now, Cat Williams is a comic. Y'all know who Cat Williams is here? And I was watching Cat the other night on Netflix, and he said, y'all are sick. He said, I think I got cancer. He said, I listened to the man on the radio and everything he said, I was feeling it right with him. And so how many of us are doing that? So this month we've talked about self-care, we've talked about love, but all of that is one thing, it's no separation. How are we loving ourselves? What are we thinking about ourselves? Who do we see ourselves being? Are we allowing our age, whether we're young or older, to separate and say something can or will not happen in our lives simply because somebody told me? And we are caught up in this somebody who told me. This morning I wanted to try exercise and I told Reverend Lisa, I said, I'm gonna do it. And then I looked down and I said, well, maybe I won't do it, but I'm gonna say it anyway. I wanted everybody to separate from the person they came with and sit with somebody new. I wanted you to attract and get a new energy. Because sometimes the people that you would come into agreement with you too often. Oh, baby, I don't feel good. I know, baby. I'm gonna take care of you. But how about if you went into your own individualized idea of I am whole, perfect, and well, I don't care what nobody says. I loved you, by the way, Songbird. I saw a hummingbird when you were singing. And you on the piano, and my favorite guys, okay, I just gotta get that out real quick. because I wanted to recognize you as soon as I got up here, and then something said going into what you're talking about. So I want you to think about becoming your own person. Now I'm going to cut in here because I'm so happy that we got some young people here. Because I had the opportunity just before the pandemic in 2009, I was offered a volunteer position at Inglewood High School. And when I was at Inglewood, they put me in a room way in the back. It was dusty, and they told me you can clean it up and fix it, and we're going to send you to students who have the worst problems. These are the school troublemakers. They're probably going to end up in jail and never finish school. But there were shy kids in there. There were kids who didn't know how to identify with themselves because of the way they were raised. They had no identification. So what I decided to do is to teach them meditation. Let's learn how to go within and be still and discover who I really am, outside of what my parents think I am, outside of what my sister or my brother thinks I am, but who am I? And what is my true dream? And what do I like? Do I have to be what someone tells me to be, or can I allow myself to be me? Because a part of living this human life is not living in a group or a cult or a circle of friends, where everybody wears similar clothes, we all eat the same restaurants, we watch the same movies, we do everything the same, but we ain't twins. And we're not triplets. But we tend to get into this small circle where we limit our consciousness and our thoughts. And it happens with kids because they get to school, somebody likes them, somebody don't. Somebody bullies them, some people don't. It comes up. But I want you to know, it's no different for you than it is for these people over here, your parents. Because when we're working, when we're at school, wherever we are, we're clicking. And then when we get there, we're talking about COVID, or we're talking about the fact that I'm working at home and I hate it. Or we're talking about the fact that I've had COVID 3 times and I don't know why. Because some people have had it over and over and over. But the thing of it is who are you? What are you, as an individual, who are you? Now, part of metaphysics is that when I came into it, I was told that we were truth seekers and that we were studying and being a part of a process, not a deity, not a particular religion, but someone who was open to learning how to take advantage of all this beautiful stuff that had been given to us in the universe that some people said we couldn't have. That's why I don't preach, because I like teaching. Why do I like teaching? Because in order to teach, you got to learn. You got to constantly educate yourself. And so what happens is people come into these churches or these buildings or these centers, and you come in and you're gung-ho. And then you start depending on Reverend Lisa or Reverend Gerald to give you a sermon to heal you, and you forget to read, you forget to study, you forget to pay attention to who you are, you forget to deal with your emotional feelings, you forget that you are a person, and they're just giving you something that they're thinking about, that worked for them. It was, came to them. Well, what are you thinking about when you're thinking about what you're thinking about? Do you go home and pick up a book? Now, I'm going to tell you something. I'm about to do a workshop because I love doing workshops. And this one is called The Spiritual Nature of Hustle and Flow. Now, some people didn't watch this movie because they said those rappers were cussing. The man was a pimp. He was dealing with, watch the kids, hoes. I'm not watching that. But somebody said, Ruth, watch it and go with intention and always look for the good and the love in it. So what happened? Here's a guy living in a ghetto neighborhood. not much of a high school background because he dropped out, and he becomes a pimp. Now, why does he become a pimp? Because he's cute, and the girls like him. They'll do whatever they want, whatever he likes. But he doesn't like that because that's not the true inner him. And so what does he do? He's sitting one day in his car with the young lady who was going to do some work for him and clean that up. And he looked at her and he said, "So what do you want to be?" And she looked at him and she said, "What?" He said, "What do you want to be?" And she says, "I don't know." He says, "Well, you need to think about it because this is not who I am." He said, "I don't like this." Now, what would we call that in metaphysics? Recognition. There is something greater than what I'm doing and what I am right now. And he told her, it's in you too. That's sharing the message. Now, further on down the line, he goes to pick up some dope. And when he gets there, there's a crackhead out there. He said, "Man, if you take this keyboard, give me some of that crack." And he said, "Man, I don't want no keyboard." And he says, "Well, no, man, look at it, look at it." So he takes the keyboard and he begins to play it. And as he begins to play it, the memory of his childhood dream of being a musician comes back to him, and he begins to hear the music. And so he gets the drugs and he goes to the liquor store to drop it off to the man who's working behind the counter. But while he's standing there, Ralph, a guy comes up that he went to high school with, and the guy says, "Man, are you still doing that music?" And then he begins to remember. He said, "Yeah, man, back in the day when we were going to school together, you played the music and everybody wanted to hear your music. What happened, man?" And when he walked out of there, the idea of who he was began to become clear. Now, for y'all to get the rest of that story, you got to come to the workshop. Anyway. But can you understand what I'm saying? Because you see, God is everywhere present. And the Quimbys and all of those folks were doing what we call physical healing. But what this young guy was doing was called mental healing. You see how it all correlates together because it's only one thing. It's the idea of healing no matter what it is. And remembering that you are powerful beings, that you didn't come here with nothing. You came here with everything and got diluted into people talking about their history. And you forgot who you were. So my job that I like doing is remembering. And it started with me. When I went into metaphysics, I was in my early 20s. And even though I was practicing, there were things that continued to happen that I no longer felt connected with. There were people that I kept having to deal with that I did not feel connected with. And I used to say, well, what do I need to do to change this? When we know that the change begins in us. But the change is deep because historically, from the time you pop out of that womb, you're getting the program and the information of everything that has happened in your family life, and the people who come to the house. All of those people are bringing this stuff, and you're sitting there as an infant and a child, and you're taking it all in. How do I know? I wear cute high heel shoes because back in the day, my mother and her girlfriends was in a club. And I used to look at the way they were dressed, and I said, when I grow up, I'm gonna wear me some stiletto pumps. And trust me, even at my age, I still wear my stiletto pumps. Programming. Why? Because the men were looking at them when they had them stilettos on. And the skirts, pencil skirts, all the stuff they wore, you know what I'm talking about. So there I was getting the history of what a woman should look like and dress like. Was that all of it? No, but that was the bit I got. They said your grandmother had cancer. Then you know your Aunt Louise had cancer. And your Uncle Charlie had cancer. So I'm gonna tell you right now, baby, you're probably gonna get it. It's historically in our family. I had blood cancer. When I got it, I was mad as hell. That's where the cancer came from. Filled my body, worked on my blood system out of anger. I had carried a load for a long time and I was sick of it, but I didn't know how to get rid of it. So my body began to display the symptoms of something called leukemia. But as soon as I got in that hospital and I'm laying there, God is saying to me, not today, Ruth. It ain't happening today. So I'm looking at the doctor like Jennifer Lopez in the movie where the man said he gonna have you on the floor and he wants to kick you because he's a coward. But because you know that you're strong and you know what you know, you can get rid of it. And so I laid there with a smile on my face and heard them saying, not today. And here I am almost 10 years later, looking good as I look. Was it just the thought? No, but the thought was the recognition. And then I began to go in and I worked on my body. And the first place I went was to that root chakra. What was the history of what I had heard that created the thought that gave me this appearance of a disease? And so I began to do my work. And I worked on the history. I worked on my root chakra. I said, let it go, Ruth. Take a look at it and see what it really means. So I had this auntie because I wasn't raised by my parents. And I had this auntie, and she was very tough on me and my sisters. I say, oh, why she's so mean? I don't like her. And then Spirit said, okay, let's do a quick life review. What did she do? She took my sister and I to work with us, so she taught us she owned her own business, so she taught us work ethics. She taught us how to go in and get the job done, get the money, and go home and don't have to answer to anybody but yourself. Don't have a boss. You the boss. I'm the boss. So what happened? I opened me up a business when I got grown. And guess who was the boss? I was the boss. But my work ethics and everything that I did came from this lady that I thought was so mean. Then we would go to church, girl, 7 days a week we was in church, choir practice, prayer, I can't name it all. And every time we get to church, she said, Ruth, go on up there and get it started. You better do a testimony. When you walk in that church, you better get up there and say something. You're going to get the Lord some praise today. I'd go in there, and I'd be standing there. Lord, I thank the Lord for being here today. I thank the Lord for blessing. And then all of a sudden, the light would come on, and I really felt it. And I would be like, I thank the Lord for everything that happened in my life. So what did that do? Well, here I am today talking to you. Had she not taught me to get up there and speak, would I be here today? Possibly not. But it wasn't just my auntie, it was all the things that had happened when I was a little girl, the rape, the abuse, all of the things that I went through that I thought were the worst days in my life. But when I'm in a circle with some young people in some of my children's meditation classes, and they say, can I talk to you, Miss Ruth? And I say, yeah. And I hear their story. I can teach them how to use that story and make it a positive in their life. So what appeared to be the worst person in the worst time in my life was the best time. Now, I want to tell you that when you first start working with metaphysics, you can't think that it's a miracle just because you meditate. You can't think that everything's going to change just because you get into the silence or that you're making affirmations. Those are tools, but the real work is the going within. The real work is acknowledging that, yes, there's something going on, but today I'm willing to start doing the work. And I know that if I do this work, it's going to change because I am willing to change. I know that there's a great life out there for me. I know that everything I want can happen simply because I desire it. Why? Because they sent a metaphysician after the Quimbies, and before the Quimbies and stuff, they sent this great metaphysician called Jesus, who said, these things that I do, you can do in greater things. Now, how did he learn that? Because he started at 33, but for them 30 years before, he was going everywhere. He was seeking. He was learning about different religions. He was learning about what was going on in the world. And then he took all of these things and he put them to work, and he became what they call the Christ. Because he had a new thought. They had never heard that stuff before. And some of them said he was delusional and crazy. But those that chose to believe began to see the shift and the change in their lives. So many of you are sitting here today. You came in here. I don't know what you came for. I came so God could talk to me as I talk to you, to remind me of who I am. Who am I? I am the one known as Ruth Lemon. I am the great and powerful. I am the stars that you see at night. I am the moon that lights up the sky in the evening and the sun that wakes you up in the morning. I am the breeze in the wind that cools you off when you're hot. I am the food that comes from the soil that takes care of your soul. Because I am the great I am. But do you think it's only me? It's everyone in this room. You are more powerful than you give yourself credit for. You become less sometimes so others can become more. But I want you to look in the mirror and see what God sees, what he sent here, what he created out of the feminine power within. Because today, this talk is about the feminine power of the women who sit in here. 75 to 80% of the people who keep these churches and things going are women. But what's happening, women? You have forgotten who you are. You have allowed the radio and the TV to tell you who you are. Some of the young girls wear clothes inappropriately because they think this is what I got to do to be who I am. Some of the young guys are shooting, killing, doing drugs, saying inappropriate things in records and programming your children. And you are afraid to talk to them. When my kids come over, I got 9 granddaughters. When they come over, I say, girl, who you going with now? What's your boyfriend's name? What he look like? What does he do? Why you got them shorts all up in your butt? What is that? You want me to tell you something that happened when I was your age? And then I tell them my story so that they can tell me theirs. But I keep an open door conversation because I don't want them to live out of history. I tell them a little bit of mine, but I say, but that ain't got to happen to you because let me tell you what can happen. We're going to talk about it. So that's why I created Beauty Shop Chat. Now, the things I've talked about today, yes, today is about the feminine power within. But you men know that you have some of that in you too. Sometimes you want to cry, but they won't let you. Sometimes you want to say, I'm unhappy, but you always got to be that man. Keep your chest up. Keep it together, Ralph. But it's okay to allow yourself to feel the emotion. It's okay to be who you are. And then in your meditation and in your quiet time, allow spirit to bring you the attraction of people around you as men and as women so that we can have chats and we can lift each other up, and we can decide that we can make change. Do you realize that if everyone in this room came into alignment in one agreement, the war would be over? But we have decided that, oh yeah, men have wars. They don't have to. What are they fighting for anyway? Can you figure it out? I haven't figured it out. But some little boy named Putin got mad because somebody hurt his feelings when he was a kid, and he's living out of his history. But if he could pull together the right men and the right people to say, yeah, man, I understand, I felt that way too. But this is what we could do. But you see, we're afraid to come together. And then when we do, we lie, we make up stuff. Girl, how you doing? I'm good. Girl, I'm looking good, doing good. No, you're not. But you don't want to say it because it won't look cool to the cool people that you think are there. They ain't cool. They waiting for you to say something so they can say something. But instead we say, girl, let's get us a glass of wine and everything will be all right. We have the opportunity as metaphysicians, because the world is a metaphysical world. So not by defining myself as a metaphysician, although I know what I study, I know what I practice, but when I'm with people, I'll be like, hey girl, let's talk. But when I talk to her, I talk to her. I don't try to convert her. I ain't trying to make her love the Lord or lose the devil. I'm not trying to make her go to Allah or the Buddha. They can do what they want. But what I'm talking about is a sensible way of living. So let's talk about that. If you could change one thing in your life today, what would you like to change? What would you like to see yourself being? My mother's 98 years old, and we were talking. And I said, Mama, what would you be doing if you didn't know that you were born in 1924? She said, girl, I'd have me a boyfriend. We'd be partying. She said, I'd be having a good time. I said, well, put your dancing shoes on because we about to go to the club. And I took her to the club. Why not? But see, you guys limit yourself. Oh, I can't go in the bar because I'm a Christian. Oh, I can't dance like that because I'm going to do me a little something. Because this is your life. It was all created out of the mind of God. You have freedom to use it any way you want to. And then you put all these darn limits on yourself. Oh, my sister told me, I said, girl, you don't quit, I'm going to slap you. My sister was turning 60. And she came over, she said, girl, my legs are hurting me so bad, I can't put my heels on no more. I said, what? She said, well, didn't your legs start hurting when you said, hell no. Excuse me, Reverend Lisa. Hell no. I ain't giving up the pumps till the pumps quit me. And we ain't broke up yet. You better quit. But what happened? She was around all these girlfriends of hers, and they were all feeling they hot flashes and whatever the heck they thought they was feeling. Somebody asked me about a hot flash. I said, I don't remember none of that. I was too busy living. I may have had one, I don't know. Maybe. But you understand what I'm saying? Way back in the 1800s and before and after Christ, people were curious and wanting to use their minds and to think. And we all, during all of those periods of time, resisted because we knew everything must change. And we didn't want to. We wanted to be miserable in the history of our families. We wanted to say, this age and ain't no men looking. Well, baby, they be looking at me. I don't know about you. I ain't gonna tell you how old I am. but I was in metaphysics for over 45, 50 years. So I bought you guys a gift. I don't think I got enough gifts though, Reverend Paul, so I might have to bring some back. You can't have one because Reverend Lisa got one, so you're gonna have to share. Ralph, you guys can only have one, y'all got to share. I bought two things with me today. I bought root chakra oil and I bought heart chakra oil. Because when you cure the root, the heart will follow. So I'm gonna pass these bags around. If you're in a family group, please take one and share. And if you're with a best friend and you can share. But I'm gonna pass them and just grab one. And I don't wanna make it the roots over here and the hearts over there. So how are we gonna do it? Oh, okay, do we have a basket? Sharon, could you get a basket for us? So now this is what I wanna do. I want you to close your eyes for just a minute. Put your purses down. Take your glasses off if they bother you and relax. And as you're relaxing, I want you to let your mind go clear. And go through and just pass as many. If you're in a group, take one. You know what I'm saying? I want everybody to have the experience. You three back there, you can share. Can you? Yeah, you can share. Because I want everybody to have the experience. And what I'm gonna do, which is why I'm not a preacher, is I'm gonna take you guys to a little chakra guided meditation real quick. Okay? Is everybody in agreement with me? Yeah. Also, I want you to do one thing. If you think that you'll have an allergic reaction, just smell it. It's pure essential oils. There's no additives or anything in it. And y'all go to the store and buy stuff off the shelf and take it all the time, so come on now. And I'm gonna take you through a chakra meditation. I'm only gonna do a quickie. How much time I got, Reverend Lisa? 10 minutes? Okay, move fast, Sharon, because I got less than 10 minutes. Okay, everybody close your eyes. And as you close your eyes, begin to take a deep breath in. And I want you to close your eyes and just take in a deep breath and hold it for a count of 4 and blow it out to a count of 3. And I want you to do it 3 times. Are you with me? Okay. Now, as you're breathing and you're counting to 4, you're allowing yourself to release all of the old stuff so that you can open your mind and accept a new idea, a new thought, an opening of letting go of the history and allowing yourselves to be in the present. Now, if you have your oil, after your 3rd breath, please open it and smell it. Now, anything below the waist, your physical waist, has to do with your history. Anything above the waist has to do with you moving into the presence and allowing yourself to be there. The root and the heart chakra are connected because the history is what works on our ability to love, to give, to be free, to accept new things, and to become new. So I want you to breathe in. You guys enjoying that fragrance? Yes. Okay, so let's get our oils that smell them, and then put them down. You didn't get one? Sharon, we got one lady over here who didn't get one. And I want you, guys in the band, do we have any left? Okay, you're gonna have to share this, okay? Just the 3 of you. And I want you, after you smell it, to please close your eyes and go back into your breathing. And I promise you, this is not like a vaccination or a shot or anything. It's just something to bring you into alignment. And so we're gonna begin with the root chakra. Breathe it in. And as we go into the root chakra, we allow ourselves to know that our history is not our destiny. That the things of the past are simply ideas and thoughts that allow us to create a new thought, a new idea, to shift and change from the old to the now. It allows us to know that whatever happened in the past, even if we thought it was the worst day of our life, it was the best day. Because when we sit with it, we find that some of the great things that we do in our life now are a result of that day and that time and that person. And so we offer forgiveness for the anger and all of the things that we carry, blaming someone for something that we know we can heal right now. And so we allow our root chakra to open up and to release the past and come into the present. We go into the area of the navel. The color is orange, representing what? Our prosperity, our sexuality, our ability to create and have the things that we want. And we know that as we have shifted the energy in our root chakra, we're now open to a new day, a new plan, a new idea, the new me. Breathe in deeply and blowing it out. We go into the area of our stomach. We go into the area of our emotional zone. We go into the area where we carry, whenever something happens, we feel the burning and the fire and the pain. This is called our solar plexus. And so we allow our solar plexus, the color is gold. We allow ourselves to see the richness and all of the things that have preceded this time and this moment. And we allow ourselves to know that it's all good, that we have the opportunity to change form, to recreate, to be as the butterfly, and to go into the cocoon and come out looking like no other butterfly with our ability to fly. Breathe in deeply and blowing it out. We go into the area of our lungs, our heart. We release the idea of asthma or any kind of lung disease, for we know that as we shift and change, we can breathe again. We know that the heart is beating and allowing us to know that we are alive, alert, that we are all things, we are all that God is, and so much more. And so we breathe in deeply. We blow it out, allowing ourselves to feel the love vibration, the self-love vibration, hugging and kissing ourselves, knowing that we are the greatest thing in the world. We go into the area of the throat chakra, the color is blue. Breathe in deeply and blowing it out. And we allow ourselves to know that as we speak with authority, we speak with love, we speak with peace. We speak knowing that as we speak, our words are accepted because we are accepting ourselves and knowing that we are all things. We go into the area above the eyebrows, in the middle of the forehead, which is the third eye, the intuitive eye, the all-knowing eye that allows us to see all of the wonderful things that are coming and already are present because we have allowed ourselves to change, to be, and to receive, and to know how to give. So we breathe in the idea that we are that God is. And we move into the area at the top of our head, which is called the crown chakra. The color is purple. And it allows us to know that truly we are in heaven, that we are in that space that people call heaven because we know that we have connected with God. We have allowed ourselves to open up our hearts, to release the past and become all new. We have allowed ourselves to change. We have allowed ourselves to love ourselves unconditionally. And as we breathe in deeply, knowing that we are all everything that God is, we accept it, we allow it, and we know that we are. Breathe in deeply and blowing it out, opening your eyes slowly I want to say thank you today for allowing me to speak to you and share a little bit of what I live in. And it's a daily work because I do it one day at a time. That I allow myself to open myself to new things. And that I've been given the privilege to talk to angels today. And I will fly on your wings as I leave. And so it is.